the arm lock to lift your hip up and then break the arm this way. So from here, you put your hands on your chest, you bring your hand outside of his arm and the other hand inside the arm. The arm that's going to get broken should be inside of your two arms. So if you want to catch this arm of the arm lock, you'd go this way. If you want to get this arm, you'd go this way. Put the weight on the chest, jump up, spin the leg around, and from here, lift your hip up. Next time we're going to do it without stopping with my foot on the ground. So as I jump up, it's one continuous motion. Control the wrist so he cannot turn the hand. Glue the hand on the chest. And as I lift my hip up, it will hyperextend the elbow. The weight should be on his chest, locking your elbow straight. As you hop up, the leg on the same side of the arm will glide over his head. Go to this position and then break the arm. So we have this one, hand goes under and hold the wrist. Keep his hand touching the ground, lift the elbow up and slide the hand down. Hold the wrist, keep the elbow next to his ear, bring the hand under, hold your wrist, keep the hand touching the ground, lift the elbow up and drag it down. If he's trying to push you out, yes, bring you up like this, both hands on the chest, jump up, bring the leg around, and then lift your hip up. Other side, please, one more time. So here, put the hands on the chest. When you jump up, keep the weight on your hand, so that holds your weight over. And then for the arm lock. The wrist, lock it, lift the elbow up and drag it down. Okay. If I'm going for something like this and he tries to push me away, I'm setting him up for the arm lock. And then lift the hip up. Another application for something like this is when the person's got me on a headlock. He's got me on a headlock. Then I hook my leg, climb over, roll out. And I find myself in this position that we have ended up the other previous setup. From this position, after using my hands to establish my base, even though he's still heavy on the headlock, I'm on top of him in a mounted position and with my base comfortably set at this position. My hand will go in front of his neck, hold my wrist, and lean the weight to make him let go. As he let go, my shoulder and my head will pinch his arm in place. I'll put my hand trapping his arm, other hand on the ground, and pivoting on this hand, I will bring the leg over for this kind of arm lock. No, actually, on the other side, please. So the person's got me on the headlock here. As I hook the leg, climb up, use my hands on the ground for base. Here, he's still holding my neck and trying to push me up, but I'm in good base. Number one is to keep your balance. Once I have this established and I'm sitting down, my center of gravity is lower here, I know he can't throw me out. I let him jump for a little bit so he gets tired from this position. Then the arm goes across the neck. Be sure to put the blade of the arm against the soft part of the neck, not on the head, but right here, next to the neck. Bring your hand, Hold your wrist and make that same steady frame that we had on the ground. Lean the weight not to this side, that way. From here, trap his arm, hand on the ground. You might want to bring your knee up a little bit because sometimes if the knee is too far back, it's going to be more difficult to bring the leg around. Whereas if you have your here and you bring your knee up, it's easier. It's a shorter trajectory to cover from this point. From here, weight on the hand, and spin the leg around. The arm is trapped at all times and easy to break at this point. If when he does this move, he tucks the leg in, keeps the head down. Go to my knee, rolling back. Here, clear the leg out of the way, bounce the leg. Always taking my time, there's no rush. He's not going to escape from here. If he would let go of my neck, I'll be mounting on top of him like this. I'll be alright. If he does remain holding my neck like that, I want to take my time, establish my position, and then bring the hand in front of the neck, the other hand. Be aware at this point that instead of putting the frame on the neck and lifting your head up, which brings a lot of force and makes it very heavy on your neck, because if I try to lift my head up, I'm using the strength of the back of my neck against his arm. So if he holds tight, it gets heavy on my neck. Don't pull your head up at this point. Instead, make a frame with the arm and lean the weight forward so that the pressure is transferred to his neck. Instead of you having to lift your head up, do this, dive into his neck until he lets go. Then you trap the arm, your hand is already here, the leg is right behind his head, and we are back into this to break. If when he's here, we make the frame, keep my hip away, I bring my leg over, but he does not let go of my neck. I go to this position, in base, bring the blade across the neck, he lets go, trap the arm, and back into the iron lock we go again. Besides the iron locks that you have just seen, we can also apply a finishing hold if the person on the bottom has you in this position, which is, by the way, a common finishing for headlocks. You might find yourself in this position after escaping from a headlock. So from this point, you want to make sure to establish your position here with your hands on the ground and your weight leaning back. Bring the hand across the neck, lean a steady frame, not to lift your head up. Be sure that you lean the weight forward. Grind the neck. Put your hand on the ground. Trap his arm. With the weight here, bring the leg over the head and complete to the arm lock. So the other side, please. You got the neck. Brace yourself with your hands. Sit back. Hold the weight down here so he can't push you off. The blade goes across the neck, hold the wrist, knee behind the head, lean the weight forward, trap his arm, hand on the ground, and bring the leg over to do this. Then lift your head. If you find yourself with the person holding onto your neck, like this, holding onto your neck, and when you do this move, always be ready to let go of it. Number one is your base. So sit back. Find yourself comfortable with this. If you find yourself with the weight on the neck, and as the person lets go, if you feel that your leg is not limber enough to come inside of his head this way here, because actually what you're doing is that you're bringing the leg above his head, it would be okay to put your hand right on the person's head. Here, you will require that your leg comes up real high. If you put your hand on the person's head, it gives a little more height. bring the leg over. It might make it easier. So if the person got you in a headlock like this, establish your base, no rush. As you go for the movement, always be ready to let go. Number one thing is to be relaxed and ready to ride the position, no rush. The blade goes across the neck. Trap this. If you ever find difficulty in bringing this leg over the person's head because he's too wide, you know, he's got the head way too high, put your hand right on the head, use this as a support, and bring the leg around. To then complete with the lifting of the hip to break the arm. Okay. All right. Another common finishing hold is when the person is inside of your leg like this. Okay? You're going to hold the wrist with one hand. The other hand goes over and across your legs. The hand goes over. Hold your wrist like this. So it's 1, 2. 1, 2. Both my feet on the ground. With the weight on my feet to push me back and a good grip on my wrist, I don't want to push his hand back that way. Instead, I want to use my legs and drive my weight back with it, bringing his face to the ground. I will use this foot on the ground to slide my hip away from him, and then with the hand keeping his arm against my chest so that he doesn't have the mobility to move this away. I'll keep it glued on my chest and keep this arm in an L position here. Drive his hand that way. From here, 1. Grab the wrist, feet on the ground, lean back, slide your hip away, and you could even either trap his foot with his leg or bring your leg over his back, either one. The arm glues his arm against my chest, and this hand will drive his hand straight up that way. Hold the wrist, sit up and hold your wrist. From here, both feet on the ground, lean the weight back, keep his arm squeeze against your chest, scoot your hip away and drive his arm. Important that you don't bring his hand this way. That's not what you want. You want to bring the hand in an L position this way, that way. That's where you're going. You have the wrist and crank it that way. From here, legs should be always crossed. I'm going to sit up, hold the wrist. Uncross my feet, put your foot on the ground, drive my weight back, bringing his face to the ground. With this foot on the ground, I'll slide my hip away, put the leg over here, and glue his arm to my chest with my arm here. Then this hand will push it forward. You want to feel the snugness of his arm against your chest. When you do this move, and the person defends by holding behind your back like this, if you can no longer catch him on the arm lock, you bring your hand around his neck and find under his body, grab your wrist right here. That's what I'm doing. I'm going around the neck and I'm grabbing my own wrist. Under the neck and I'm grabbing the wrist. So I go around the neck, grab my wrist. From here, I will lay back, cross my legs, and with the legs, I'll push him away as I bring my hand towards my neck. Okay. So the movement is to go around the neck, hold the wrist like this, legs crossed, and stretch the person away. The blade of the arm should be right on his throat right here. So I go for the arm lock. He blocks the arm lock. My hand will go around the neck, Notice that I'm sitting up as I do that. I don't want to be laying down and trying to catch his neck. I'm sitting up here. Very comfortable. Wrap around the neck. This hand goes in the front of his shoulder like this, so this way, not under his arm. Be sure that you go inside of the shoulder, this way. And be careful that he doesn't tuck the chin in. You want to be underneath his chin. Don't let him settle for this. Go under the chin. Go grab here. The second hand goes like this. Grab the wrist so that the blade of the arm is right on the person's throat. Go inside, underneath the wrist. Hold your wrist at this point. Bring the hand up as if you're kind of adjusting the tightness around the neck. As you lay back, cross your legs. And with your legs around his waist, you will push him away, stretching his neck. Go for the arm lock. He blocks it. Holds around your waist. Sit up. The hand goes around the neck. Under the neck. At this point, I'm already adjusting the neck. This hand goes inside of the arm, in front of his arm. I hold my wrist this way, not this way. This way is what you want. Bring it up to adjust around his throat. As you lay back, cross your feet. Bring your hands to your chin. My hands are actually pulling up as the legs push him away. Like doing traction to his neck. That's what you're going for. So from this position here, you can go either for the arm lock and sit up and cross the legs. Lean back. Scoot your hip away and break the arm. Feet on the ground. Lean back. Scoot your hip away and then crank the arm up. Or you could go for this. If he resists, you wrap his neck, adjust it up at this point. You want to get this snug movement around the neck. The snugger the better, real tight. The second hand goes under, hold your own wrist. As you lean back, cross the legs, and the legs shall push him away as your arms keep the pressure. Here, he defends the movement. My hand goes around the neck. The hand goes inside, hold the wrist. Bring it up as if you're almost hanging him by the neck. Cross your legs, lean back, and push him away. Okay. Lay down, please. This move. Bring it down this way. This way. This one tries to push me back, hands on his chest, and then the arm lock goes from here. Or if the person has you in a headlock like this, establish your position, bring the blade across the neck, drive the neck in, and go for the arm lock. Now we're going to see those finishing holds from when Royce was inside of my guard from another angle. Here, I'm going to hold the wrist, sit up, and cross the legs. Use my feet on the ground so I can lean back with the weight, scoot my hip away. Leg over and force the arm that way. Hold the wrist, sit up, and cross my legs, rest my feet on the ground so that I can use my feet for support. So as I drive my shoulder back to the ground, I'll scoot my hip away, bring the leg over, and then crank the arm that way. From here, if he resists by holding his wrist behind my back, as I go for the arm lock, I'll sit up, wrap around his neck. The hand will go in through here. I'm holding my own wrist. I go around the neck, into the wrist, adjust the movement up way into the throat like this with the blade of the arm. As I lay back, I'll cross my legs and then push them away with the legs and pull the hand up. So I go for the arm lock, locks like this. My hand will go around the neck. This hand will go from the inside, holding my own wrist. Take the slack out of it, way up, adjust into the throat, lay back, cross my legs, and then as I push him away with the legs, tighten up his neck. When you find yourself inside the person's guard, as you pass the guard, doing this, going under, lowering your shoulder, go across the side, lay across the side, establish this position here. It is a good opportunity for you to do this move. Hold the arm, second hand goes under, hold your own wrist, lift the elbow up, and slide his hand down. From here, the hand is down here, second hand goes under, lift the elbow up, and slide the hand down. So if I'm across this side here, hold his wrist, glue the hand to the ground, and keep your elbow next to his ear so it fits here. This hand goes under, holds your wrist, lift his elbow up, and slide the hand down. So from here, hold the wrist, the hand goes under, and from this position. Lay across the side, trap the arm, and go for this. Lift the elbow up. Okay. Another finishing hold that you can do from this position. It's very common at this situation when the person on the bottom tries to push you out. And as a result of that, they will lift their head off the ground. As they lift their head up off the ground, you should put your head on the ground and with your hands off the ground, wrap around his neck. Around the neck. Turn your body sideways. With this leg, you step over. With this hand, hold your own wrist. Rest the weight on his neck. Take the slack out of the grip. Make it really snug. And then arch back. I'm on the side like this. He tries to muscle me and lifts the head up. It's a very common move to be used in a street fight. Everybody lifts the head up. This hand will go around the neck, underneath my body, with my head on the ground so that I can use this hand. This hand holds my own wrist. Notice that I position my body sideways so that I can bring my foot over. This is the position I'm in. There's no weight on my arms that I can't move it. I have my head on the ground, my knee on the ground, my foot on the ground, so that everything here can be moved very easily. There's a lot of space between him and me. So as I go around here, look, my arms can be everywhere. A very comfortable position. My hand goes under. Be sure to adjust his neck. Let the weight rest on the side of his body like this. And my body sideways. And then from here, adjust the arm around the neck and then arch back with the whole body. Just illustrate this thing for a second here. That if the person is laying down here and I'm across the side, it should be like a bridge like this. So when my hand goes around the neck, you hold your own wrist. That's what you're looking for. So the hand goes around the neck and you hold your wrist. Around the neck and hold. That's what I'm doing underneath my body at this point. So from here, I go around the neck, I hold my own wrist, adjust the neck, step over, and not with the arm strength, but with the whole body. is what gives me the leverage for the squeeze. It's not the arms pulling as it is the body arching back. So he's laying aside like this, laying down. I'm with my elbow on the ground. I feel the person lifting up the head. I'll put my head on the ground. I'll bring my hand around and under my body so that this hand now holds my own wrist. Turn the body sideways, step the leg over, and with the body, I will arch back. Please, hold. In a movement like this, it's important that you feel that the movement, when you go around the neck, you get it really snug around the person's neck. Because if it's a little bit loose, there'll be slack and the circulation will be happening on the neck. You want to make sure to go around the neck, and with your arm, keep it very adjusted. So every little bit of arching of your back will take a big effect on the person's neck. Will increase the pressure tremendously. So from here, the person lifts the head up, the hand goes around, put my head on the ground, the hand goes around the neck, I hold my own wrist, turn my body sideways, step over with the leg, rest my weight on his neck at this point so that I can be very comfy, very snug with him. And then when I arch back, it's with the whole body, it's not the hand. Okay, one more time on this side here, please. From here, I notice the person lifting the head up. I'll put my hand on the ground, go around, turn the body sideways, hold my wrist, step over, and then the whole body arches back. Okay. Grab the wrist, get the head down. Pushes me up, hand on the chest. As I hop up, the weight stays on my hand. Be sure to keep your weight on your hands. He's pushing me up. The weight is on my hand. This is my pivoting point. I keep the weight on my hands so that the legs feel very light. If the person grabs me neck, get by the neck, establish my base here, bring the arm, dig it in, hand on the ground, trap his arm, move around, bring the arm lock. On the side, base number one, always relax, take your time here, blade across the neck, lean in, trap the arm, put your hand on the head if you need be, and spin the leg around. Then lift your hip up. If the person is inside of your guard like this, you want to go for the wrist. If he's holding your arm like this, bring your hand under, just as a means of letting go of the grip. So if the person's got your arm, just go like this, hold the wrist, sit up and grab your own wrist. Feet on the ground, drive your weight back, scoot your hip away, and bring the arm straight forward. If I go for the arm lock and he blocks my waist, I'll wrap his neck, my hand goes inside, lay back, push him away with the legs, at the same time that I pull my arm up. I'm locking here, hold the wrist, scoot my hip away, drive the arm up. And if I go this way, he resists, my hand goes around the neck, other hand goes in here, push him away and squeeze the neck. We're now going to see the application of these finishing holds at regular speed. There you go. This concludes tape number 5.
There are many more techniques of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu that I have not yet addressed. For now, I advise you to go back to the beginning of this series and repeat these techniques many times. Remember, do it in a relaxed manner. Have fun with it. These are some of the techniques we used on the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu self-defense program. Thanks.